Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews. And today we got our year-end video for you guys where we're going to talk about all the metal that came out this year, and we're going to be giving you guys our top 5 albums of the year. So I guess, you know what, let's just start it off with a bang and let's just give them our number 5s. So my number 5 of the year is an album that I was not expecting at first to love as much as I did. I feel like it just kind of covers all bases. Like if you want something in metal, you've got it with this album. It's a super well-rounded album.
Okay, my number 5 is an album that we didn't have a chance to review, but I did listen to it on my free weeks and on my downtime here and there, and every time I listened to it I went, you know what, this one would have been worth it. And it was a little bit of a sleeper, and I didn't hear many people talking about it, so it might be a little bit of a surprise for some people, but I think it's very deserving. It's a creative album, and definitely love this one.
So our number 5s of 2020 are...
So I got Violent Portraits of Doomed Escape by the Black Crown Initiate.
And I got Dissension by Medicated.
So a little bit about Medicated, just to touch on this a little bit. This is an independent band that approached us to review this album earlier in the summertime, and we both loved it.
Yeah.
It's a solid album.
Like I said, I wasn't expecting, okay, this band independent to just blow my mind as much as they did to earn the top 5 spot for me at least.
Yeah, I definitely have some tracks on my playlist off that album for sure. Yeah, well, you want to give these guys some stats? We got some stats for you guys.
We do have some stats for you guys. One thing to note is we made 173 videos this year, which is 6 more than last year.
Yeah.
Which kind of surprised me a little, because you figured that the pandemic would have kind of hurt some bands' productivity, but honestly, a lot of bands just kind of went straight to the shop and worked on just tons of music.
Yeah, there was also a lot of pandemic videos, if you remember, like people just recording videos on their webcams or like just studio shots and stuff like that. Which we kind of saw a lot of, which was interesting, creative. The bands are doing what they got to do to get their material out. So yeah, that was cool. But yeah, I was actually surprised too that we actually recorded more videos this year than we did last year.
Yeah, you would have thought that because, the pandemic kind of hit so many bands or whatever that they would have made less stuff. But I guess, they didn't stop them.
Yep.
Didn't stop us.
Yeah, so number 4?
All right, number 4. So my number 4 album of this year is also an album that we didn't cover on the channel, and I honestly wish we did. This album, every time I put it on, just blows my mind. I think it's an incredible album. I totally wish we got the chance to review it. I think this band really made a huge mark with this one, and it's just a very strong record, that's for sure.
Okay. My number 4 is just a super strong album through and through. And I really thought throughout most of the year that it was going to be higher on my list. And there's only one real reason it's not, which I don't think I'm going to give away right now. But let's reveal number 4's What the Dead Men Say. Here's this Palimpsest by Protest the Hero.
Yeah.
So the reason why What the Dead Men Say is not higher on my list is because I feel like it was just the little brother to The Sin in the Sentence. I don't feel like Trivium took enough of a step forward to really impress me enough to bring it to the forefront. So
it's kind of...
Maybe it's a little bit harsh on them, but I feel like a band of that caliber, you need to push it a little bit harder. Maybe it's a little unfair to judge like that, but I feel like this placement in my top 5 is just right for this album.
It is kind of hard to step up from an album like The Sin in the Sentence.
It is.
But Palimpsest, honestly, Protest's been gone for a while because the singer had a lot of, vocal issues with his throat, but they came back and exploded. That album, every single time I listened to it, just exploded in my head. And I would tell people, you gotta listen to Protest, you gotta listen, this album's incredible. So, I want to talk about some album artwork, because there's been a lot of good and some bad album artwork of the year. So what album art stood out to you, and what not so much for you throughout the year?
Not so much. I would say probably the Haken album cover, because it's just yellow with like some weird symbol thing in the middle. thought that was a little bit boring and bland. There was a lot of actually boring and bland album covers this year. I was a little disappointed in the album art. But some of the ones that stood out, Benighted, Obscene Repressed, that's a sick album art. And another one that was really, really cool, really artistic was Nija from Orbit Culture. I really like that one too.
Yeah, I can agree with you on both of those. Those were really awesome album arts. In terms of me for least favorite, honestly, I'm gonna have to say Lamb of God, because it totally looks like the kind of album that they just looked up stock images of just like these watches and just threw the logo on it, and it's just so lame. But in terms of favorites, I really liked Carach Angren's album, Frankenstein Stratae Montanus, and I also really liked the Black Crown Initiate artwork for that album. I thought that was a really pretty looking artwork. It looks like a card. It's got whatever the Omega as the number, and then like I just thought it was a really sick looking album art. So
cool,
some good stuff there. So with that being said, let's get to our number threes.
Number threes. Okay, so my number 3 is an album that we didn't get a chance to review. Wish we did, because it's fucking solid. And this is a band I got into 15 or so years ago, and then they kind of fell off the map for me. And they kind of did a bunch of stuff that I wasn't into, and then they delivered this piece of gold. And yeah, it's my number 3 for good reason.
So for me, my number 3 is an album that I think is just strong on all fronts. It's from the kind of band that you would totally expect, like, okay, this is what they do, and they totally delivered with this album, and it's just, the more we listened to it over the week that we reviewed it, I just kept thinking this is such an amazing album, and it just grew, and it's just super strong. So our number threes. You got Palimpsest, I got Lamb of God.
Nice.
By Lamb of God.
Nice.
That album, here's the thing with that Lamb of God album. It was amazing, it got 2 toe tags, love the album. But we actually watched the digital show that Lamb of God did over the summer, where they did, on one night, they did the whole, new album in its entirety, and then the other one, they did Ashes of the Wake.
Yeah.
And when we watched that video, or the show, where they played the whole new album in its entirety, that's where it hit me that this is guaranteed in my top 5, because that show was fucking amazing. Loved it.
Yeah, for me, Palimpsest just hit some marks with me that, like, basically no other album hit for me this year. There's the energy on this album is amazing. The riffing's awesome. Just the guitar work overall is awesome. But I feel like the vocal performance on this album is unparalleled.
Oh my god!
The notes this guy hits, just the tones he has, are just like makes the hairs on my neck stand up. And he hits the right spot.
He's got that and the growls too.
Yeah. Just the best of both worlds, and you combine that with just really intricate and sick guitar playing and really like upbeat and awesome rhythms. Palimpsest is an outstanding record.
You listen to that album and it kind of feels like you're running a marathon. Like it's just going so fast and it's just hitting you so hard.
It's a ride for sure. All right, so more stats. How many subs did we gain this year?
We actually gained more subs this year than we did last year, believe it or not.
That was another surprise for me. I thought overall our analytics were going to be kind of down, but they weren't. They were up in most cases.
Overall, they were up, and that kind of surprised me too. I was not expecting, but you know what? With I guess maybe the natural growth, things just kind of snowball and just kind of grow more and more, and we're really thankful for how many people have stuck along for the ride.
Yeah, I think if more of the like kind of the better known, more popular bands that kind of like attract people to our channel decided to put stuff out this year like they were originally going to, it would have helped us a lot more. But even a little growth is better than no growth.
I mean, take into account that last year a lot of massive name bands were dropping stuff. You got Korn last year, Rammstein, Slipknot.
Yeah, last year was a big year.
Like, it was huge, but we still made like more subscribers this year than last year. So that's like surprising for that reason.
Very good. I'm happy about that. So, are we doing number 2?
Guess we'll do number 2. So my number 2 is an album by a band that, for me, has never made a bad album. I think this album is super strong. I think this album is good for the way that this band is going right now. I think this one is phenomenal, like, on its own. You listen to this album, disregard other stuff, fucking crazy sick album.
Okay, so my number 2 is from a band that's part of a genre that I feel is oversaturated, but this album stands out in a very, very good way. It's super creative. There's just a lot of elements, a lot of creativity in this album, and beginning to end, every song just hits the marks for me. Number 2, mine's Immortal by Lorna Shore.
Is What the Dead Men Say by Trivium. Now, you said about What the Dead Men Say, and I feel that it is a little bit unfair to keep comparing it to The Sin in the Sentence. Now, I can agree that The Sin in the Sentence was better. I agree with that, but I think it's a bit unfair to listen to this album and keep thinking, oh, well, the last one, oh, well, the last one. I think you have to kind of put on the lens of this new album to truly appreciate how great it is. Because if you're constantly thinking of the last record, why not just go listen to that, you know?
That's entirely fair, but I'm still, my top 3 albums I would still put ahead of What the Dead Men Say.
Yeah, like, no, that's
so
totally fair.
regardless if I compare it to The Sin in the Sentence or not, it still lands at number 4. And that was a careful decision to make. It almost moved up a little bit, but I'm like, you know what, it's just not giving me those same feelings. It's number 4 is my spot.
So before we get on to number 1, there's a few more things I'd like to talk about, and that's one of which being music videos. Because we reacted to tons of different stuff this year. I want to know what stood out among those to you. I got a few.
Let's see, what did we react to this year? We reacted to a lot of music videos. I'm just gonna go, when you ask me questions like this, I gotta go with the first thing that comes to mind, because I draw blanks a lot. I got a mustache hair in my mouth. Yay, music videos. No, the one that comes to mind is Instinctive Slaughterlust by Hatebreed. It's pretty recent. We reacted to it not too long, a couple months ago. But through the whole video, this guy's spray painting this amazing mural on this wall. While the band just fucking rocks out, and then the cops come at the end and chase him away. But the mural this guy paints is just fucking awesome.
It's sick.
Just sick, and I really love that. It was really cool. I mean, pretty simple, pretty basic kind of idea for a video, but executed very well.
Yeah, it was really well shot, and just the end with that giant shot of the mural looks great. For me, there's a few, one of which was Very Noise by Igor.
Yeah.
That video was just...
Was that this?
That was this year. It was earlier on this year. That video was insane. That was probably one of our most viewed videos of the year as well.
There was another Igor video we did too, the Corpse Grinder.
That was Parpang.
Yeah, Parpang.
We also did Downgrade Desert, but that one was not as memorable as the other two.
Yeah.
The most memorable was certainly Very Noise.
Yeah.
A few others that I liked were Swallowing the Rabbit Hole by Code Orange. I thought that was an amazing video. One of the coolest parts is where the glass breaks and this box that they're in just explodes.
Yeah.
And then it reforms back up, and the whole image of them just exploding this glass box is so sick.
Yeah,
love that. Another one I really loved was Doom Woods by Whitechapel.
Oh yeah. That was really cool.
One of the most beautiful, just cinematic kind of videos.
It was like
I've
a
ever
first-person kind of thing, right?
Yeah, you're going through the whole thing, all the entire red forest, and everything's just kind of morphing on itself. Oh, such a pretty video.
While we're on the topic of music videos, our most viewed video this year was our reaction to Demolisher by Slaughter to Prevail with over 110,000 views.
Jeez,
which is insane. Slaughter to Prevail, man, they fucking pulled it in for us.
It really, I heard of them a little bit before that video came out.
Yeah.
But when that video dropped, it exploded in the whole metal scene. Everyone was talking about it. That's over 100K.
Even Alex Terrible.
Even Alex Terrible himself watched our reaction and commented, man, this band's just been on fire. They still haven't really dropped another album yet, and I'm really looking forward to that.
When they do,
man, that's a bombshell waiting to drop.
So we do got our number ones to announce, but we're gonna do some HMs first. So you want to do trade-offs, or you want me to do my 3? We got 3 HMs each. Do you want to do trade-offs, or you want me to do 3 and you do 3? How do you want to do it?
I guess I'll say my 3, and then you can say your 3.
Go for it.
So my 3 honorable mentions for 2020 are Nija by Orbit Culture, Weight of the False Self by Hatebreed, and Immortal by Lorna Shore.
Nice. My HMs are Dissension by Medicated, Nija by Orbit Culture as well, and Hunter Gatherer by Avatar.
Well, I wasn't expecting that one on as an HM for you. But you know what? That was a pretty good
fucking
album.
solid album,
It was
man.
a good album.
It's
Honestly,
a really solid album.
it was good.
It was pretty close to making my top 5, but it got edged out. It got edged out by just albums that were just superior.
Yeah, there was one moment for me of just edging out where it was Orbit Culture, because that album was amazing, but just barely got edged out by Medicated for me. Because I find they're similar albums, but I just kind of felt like Medicated just offered more with their album.
So before we get to our number ones, just know that I didn't know his list at all. He doesn't know my list at all. We have no idea what the other guy picked. But I have a feeling we both picked the same album as number 1. I have a feeling we did.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe we did, maybe we didn't.
Maybe we did, maybe we didn't.
I don't know.
I really don't know, but I'm guessing we might have.
So now that we're at number 1, I'm gonna talk about the reason I picked this album. I think this album is fucking amazing. Honestly, it might be one of the best albums I've ever heard. This album not only is fresh, this album pushed the boundary of music. And I'll explain a little bit more once we reveal, what the album I picked was, but I feel like this is a truly special album for more reasons than just, it sounds sick and I love it,
Just based on what you said there, I'm thinking more and more that we probably picked the same album. I feel the same way. It's fresh. It's not just, this album sounds good, so I like it. It's super well written. It completely took me by surprise. And every time I listen to it, I go, oh yeah, this is a fucking solid piece of work. So without further ado, our number one albums of 2020 are
Matrifigy by Tawa. This is the 4th time in a row that we've had the same number. Honestly, man, I thought it was gonna change. I thought the streak would be broken. I was gonna think you were picking Lamb of God. I'm shocked that it's nowhere to be seen on your list.
Honestly, I gave the Lamb of God album a few listens and I was like, you know what, this is a solid album, it's really good. But to me, it just sounds more like just more Lamb of God. There's nothing really super special I can say that, in comparison to the other albums that are on my list, it lacks that special spark. That just, these albums just all have this like extra spice to them that just didn't have. So it didn't make my list, not even my HMs.
I was shocked, dude.
Matrifigy?
Matrifigy.
Matrifigy.
Okay.
This band is gonna go places as long as they can stick to the formula they've already developed. This band is going places.
So this album, here's what I meant. You have the classic nu metal raw aggression in your face sound that you rarely ever hear anymore, at least to this degree. You like the last time you heard stuff like this was like 1999, right?
Yeah.
But on top of that, there's a deathcore element to this band. They are pushing and evolving the sound of the nu metal genre by infusing it with deathcore. No band in the world sounds like Tala does. It's a completely unique sound, a unique album. It's got this disgustingly just gross, dark, intense story, amazing story to it. All the songs are different. There's just everything about this album just has something that's amazing.
Yeah, they completely contemporized a bunch of different genres and mashed it into one for this album. And you know what, you just said a lot of things there that I completely agree with. But honestly, if you guys want to know more of our thoughts, you can check out a review of Tala, because we did review it, Matrifigy, and
glad we did.
Yeah, it got 2 toe tags, very well deserved. And I think it's very well deserving of our number 1 spot for both of us. And I'm not surprised you gave it number 1. And I think it's very well deserving of the number 1 metal album of 2020.
For sure, man. Especially because this is the debut album for this band. As you said, they are totally going places, and I totally agree with that. So with that being said, guys, we'd both like to thank you all for sticking through everything that this year had to offer, because there was certainly a lot.
Especially the best metal band in the world tournament.
Absolutely.
That was a big hit too.
Oh, that was huge. Thank you guys for participating in that. We'd loved interacting with you guys throughout the entirety of the tournament. Once again, congratulations to Slipknot for winning that. And I guess that's all we got for 2020. So thank you guys for watching. Remember to subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Like the video if you liked, and tell us what are your top 5s of the year. We'd love to know. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
And we'll see you guys next year.